Hey there, everyone. Welcome to the De-Escalation Lab, episode 2. I'm so excited you're here with us again. My name is Tim Victorella. Today, we're going to have interesting conversation. We're going to talk about stigma. This is something that's been out and about in the news. There's been a lot of stars coming forward with stigma regarding mental health, wellness. So we're going to spend a little time on that. We're also going to talk about some steps that you can take for crisis negotiation. And I said negotiation instead of intervention, and we'll explain that in a little bit. And then we're going to end this by talking about how do we actually ask some safety questions for someone when we're assessing someone for their safety. So stigma is something that's really personal for a lot of folks. Right now in this pandemic, in this world, and everything that's going on, stigma is at the forefront. A lot of people are nervous about talking about possible mental illness, talking about how they feel. I know when I work with clients every day, for them to just pick up a phone and call or go to a facility or walk into an emergency department or tell someone else that they're okay takes a lot. We don't live in a world that's kind. We don't live in a world that is easy to come forward with our problems. You know, a lot of folks right now are dealing with financial concerns, losing their house, not having enough food on the table. Their kids are home from school, their relationships aren't that great. There might be a lot of domestic violence going on. They might be completely alone, separated from family, their normal life, asked to go home and not be at work. So there's a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, a lot of depression. And being able to say, hey, I have that. This is going on. I need this support is what's really important. A lot of times as a clinician and trainer, I hear other professionals say, this person's just a borderline. They're just here because they're homeless, they need some food. When I worked in an emergency department, that was something I experienced a lot. Someone would come in, they came in every week, multiple times a day, and they would be labeled. They would get that stigma. I can't tell you how many times someone has come in with a diagnosis or not of personality disorder, especially a borderline personality disorder, and they've just been treated disrespectfully, not taken seriously, and it's a shame, and that's stigma. This is what we need to break in our society and in mental health. So if you're a seasoned professional, first responder, if you're a student, if you're a trainer, whoever you are while you're listening, if you're a regular person that's watching these videos, I want to say it's Stigma Matters, and we need to make sure that we are really thinking about what we say and how we say it to our clients and to others about our clients. So I'll give you a good example. When I worked in an emergency department, I had a middle-aged female came in very frequently. And she started coming in every week. And she came in having suicidal thoughts and suicide attempts. The first time she came in, she decided to try to cut her wrists. She was very much labeled and stigmatized. And so she came in, I met with her. She told me she was not doing well. Things were not going right, and she wanted to kill herself. So I did something called placing her on a hold, which essentially I put her on a hold saying, due to mental health concerns, safety concerns, you're going to stay here, you're going to get treatment, you just can't walk out the door. So we did that hold. She went up to the unit, our psychiatric unit, left very quickly, got discharged, got labeled. She came in next week. I met with her again, and she said to me, I tried to kill myself. I said, boy, how did you try to do that? What's going on? Talk to me. She got discharged, went home, filled her cargo pants up with rocks, and jumped into her community pool in an attempt to drown herself. Placed her on hold, wrote up a big assessment, a big plan, got her admitted. She went up, bam, right out the door again by the same physician, the same crew. She came in a third time. That next week, this time she came in and she cut her neck. She tried to go for her artery, and she got really, really close to nicking it. She came in with a giant hole. I could see almost all the way down to her artery. They stitched her up in the emergency department. I placed her on hold, got her up to the unit, immediately labeled again and discharged out the damn hospital. Finally, she came in on a day I wasn't working with more significant, believe it or not. She attempted to overdose on many, many, many pills. Had to get her stomach pumped, placed on a hold, sent up to the unit, and this time they said, whoa, we need to keep her. Something's going on here. Typically on a psychiatric unit, they do checks, they do safety checks. And part of it should be that these safety checks happen irregularly, so that the client doesn't know, well, in 10 minutes they're going to walk around, they're going to do their circle, and then I know they're good for a half hour. We want to change it up. This didn't happen. Tech came in, not doing anything wrong, doing their checks. She was sleeping in bed, went on. She took a sheet, tied it around her neck, tied it around the door, hung herself, killed herself. They did the right thing. They got her to the unit. They put her on a hold. They were going to try to figure this out. But at the fourth or fifth time, because she was labeled, because there was a stigma put on her because she had a certain mental health diagnosis, that she was just making it up or looking for attention. This happens all the time. We as professionals, clinicians, a society, a government, a world need to examine this. We need to talk about it. We need to figure it out. Not long ago, we had an administration saying we need more asylums for our mentally ill folks. Well, they're not called asylums anymore. They shouldn't even be called psychiatric facilities anymore. What if we worked hard in taking health and wellness and combining it? Where you shouldn't feel bad for going to get your toe looked at by a doctor or going to talk to your doctor about how depressed you're feeling. We can do this. This pandemic has made everything go virtually. People are getting phone calls from their therapists. We're trying, but we're still failing. And we're failing big time. We need to rethink how we do this. This pandemic, it's going on for a while. It's going to continue. Who knows what's going to come after this one? Might even get worse. We need to be prepared to take technology, our trained healthcare folks, and put them together to make something feasible, make something reliable, so that we're helping. I talk to many people that say, I can't do this over a phone. I can't do this through video. I need more help. I can't go face to face and see someone. That's what I've done for years. That's how I was feeling better. Now I'm stuck in this place. Taking the stigma out of mental health is what we need to do. Being able to say you are not your diagnosis, no matter what you have, is crucial. We can get there. This is just an opening conversation about it. And I hope we have more conversations. I hope to bring in some more professionals, experts to talk about this in the future. So that's a little bit about stigma and what I want to talk about. I want to transition a little bit to some crisis principles, right? This is the De-Escalation Lab. So we are all about crisis, conflict. So I've developed something over the many years of being a clinician in the field of the 6 steps to crisis negotiation. Now, it's not 6 steps to crisis intervention. We're really great as clinicians and healthcare at going in when the problem happened. The stress is there. The crisis is there. We're going to go in. We're going to fix it. Use all these interventions, great things. We need to get to the point of figuring out what is happening before someone gets into a crisis state. We're going to talk about that next week. But a negotiation, if you look up the definition, truly is a conversation between 2 or more people to determine a solution. And that's what you're doing. When you're working with someone that's in crisis, you are working hard to negotiate with that person to get them to a safe place and to get them to a place that feels a little bit better for them. So the 6 steps that I've come up with, first we want to assess the situation. What's going on? And this is not just asking the person what's going on, although that's very important. What's going on around them? What's going on in the environment? Doing a 360 spin as a clinician to say, okay, I see what's going on. Now I'm going to go in and ask the person what's going on. Second is building rapport and trust, including a space of promoting encouragement and hope. Spending that time to not go in there and just be like, let's fix this, let's get it going. No, we need to take time. We need to listen. We need to build that trust. I can't tell you how many times I've spent a significant amount of time just talking to someone, getting to know them a little bit before going in and assessing the situation further. We need to listen to the problem. We're very quick to want to not listen. We are trained listeners. We just need reminders of that. So going in, taking your time, listening to the person. Don't forget, these folks are the experts in their life. They know what works and what hasn't, and we need to tap into that. We need to start calming the situation to find possible solutions to the presenting problem. So now that we've built rapport, we've listened to what's going on, now we got to work with them collaboratively to try to mitigate the situation. And that's really key. Work to negotiate the needed change back to homeostasis. Work to help negotiate to get to the person to a point that feels as good as it's going to be, back to normal, whatever that is for them. Being prepared to get additional help and resources. Sometimes in crisis, we can't fix the situation. We could be in the field for 50 years and we could fail at fixing it. Because we shouldn't have the mindset of fixing it. We should have the mindset of being there, helping facilitate, and helping explore. But being able and ready to say, I need more help. I need more staff here. I think 911 needs to be called. I think they need to go to the hospital. We can't let our egos get in the way of this. We cannot let our egos get in the way, okay? We've got to help discover and foster empowerment and personal wellness. So we do this great assessment. We ask all these fancy questions, but if we can't put it into a package that makes sense for the person, it's not going to work. We need to think away from our documentation. That's going to happen. It's going to happen. You're going to write your note. You're going to find a diagnosis. You're going to do that great work. But you're there for the human in front of you. And you got to remember that. So that's the 6 steps to crisis negotiation. We're going to use those 6 steps as we keep going in these videos and talking to other folks and building off of this. This is just a nice foundational level so that we all have kind of the same understanding. The same understanding is crucial. Really crucial. The last thing I'm going to talk about is actually asking safety assessments. What do we ask? It's really important to talk about this and to be open about talking about this, to learn and grow from it. I can't tell you how many times I have heard a professional, nothing wrong with them doing this, they just need more training in it, saying, are you going to be safe today? Are you going to hurt yourself? It's good questions to ask. We need to ask a little bit more. First question we need to ask when we're assessing safety. Do you want to kill yourself? Are you having thoughts of suicide? Because do you want to harm yourself versus do you want to kill yourself are 2 different things. If they want to harm themselves, they might be doing some self-harm, right? They might be cutting, burning, hitting themselves, doing something to relieve the pain that they're experiencing, and it's not because they want to end their life. Asking point blank, are you having thoughts of wanting to kill yourself today? Are you having thoughts of suicide? People, in my experience, are going to be very open and honest. They're going to tell you how they feel. And if they say no, great. We're still going to go with some more questions. But if they say yes, then we got to take time to figure that out. Okay, I hear that you're telling me you're having thoughts of suicide. You have any plans? Or are there any plans right now? People are going to be honest. Well, no, they're just thoughts right now. Or yeah, I got a plan. What's the plan? And I think a lot of clinicians, a lot of first responders get really nervous in those type of questions. Like, oh, if I ask about a plan, that means I'm talking about them actually doing it. Yeah, we are, because we want them to talk about what they're thinking about, because we can't get into their head yet, right? So we need to make sure that we're understanding where they're at and how they're feeling. Really important. So if they talk about a plan, the next thing we got to say is, okay, so you tell me this is the plan. Do you have any of these things on you or next to you right now? If they have a gun, can you put down that gun while we talk a little bit more, right? So right now I'm going based on more telehealth, telework, because that's what a lot of us are doing. But if you're face-to-face in an emergency department or nonprofit or just facility in general, you could ask those questions and mitigate as well. Yeah, you know what? I got a gun right now. I'm not gonna lie, I got a gun. Okay, where is it? It's in my right hand. Okay, can you put it down and just walk away from it while we're talking for a little bit? My experience is most people say yes. Yeah, I'll do that. Okay. So we've determined that they have thoughts of suicide. We determined that they have a plan. We determined that they might have something on them. Now we work even more to build that rapport, to build that trust, and to work to a solution of a safety plan. That safety plan could mean calling 911 and emergency services to go do a welfare check, to go check in on them to make sure they're safe. It could mean maybe there's a family member that the gun could go to, or maybe it gets to the point where they put the gun away. And that's okay too, and I know that might freak a lot of people out and say, well, that doesn't mean they're safe. Well, if you spent some time in talking to them, that can mean that they could be safe. So after we move past those questions, we got to ask about past thoughts of suicide. This is really important. Have you ever had past thoughts of suicide? Yes, when? Try to find some dates. It's okay to also ask, when you had those thoughts of suicide 2 years ago, were you feeling similar to what you were feeling now? Again, people are going to be really honest and tell you how they're feeling and what's going on in these situations, because they're in a vulnerable spot. They've reached out to you, or they're talking to you in person or over the phone or Skype because they need help. So they're going to be more willing to talk to you, and that's amazing. Hopefully you've built that good rapport and trust to get that going even further. The last in those line of questions is, have you ever attempted to end your life in the past? If they did, we want to know the years, dates if possible, and how they did it. Yeah, 4 years ago, I overdosed on some pills. They told you they were suicidal. They don't really have a plan. They've had past thoughts of suicide, and they've attempted by way of overdose. And then we want to kind of go back to that question of, okay, so you've overdosed in the past. Is that a concern right now? Do you have access to pills? If you have those access to pills, what are you thinking? Is that a concern? Is that a worry? Being open and honest with these questions, and the more you practice it, the better it's going to be for you. The more understanding you're going to be, the more fluid it's going to come out. You're going to mess up on these questions. If someone calls you and says, I got a gun to my head, or I'm about to kill myself, you're going to go in fight or flight mode. Your adrenaline's going to pump, your heart's going to go, you're going to start sweating. It's a crisis. Something I learned a very long time ago is to remember it's not your emergency. You're there to help facilitate and to help bring forward a good solution. But it's not your emergency, and it doesn't mean you don't care. It just means you're able to step back a little bit and look at the bigger picture. They do this in military training a lot, and leadership. Leaders in the military, they step back from a scenario so they have the lay of the land, so they can see what's going on 360 all around them. If they're down in the pits and they're next to their soldiers and they're trying to figure out what's going on right in front of them, they might not see what's going on to the left, right, or behind, or above, or below, depending on where they are in the world. So we need to step back from that. We need to be able to observe. We need to be calm, cool, collected. Okay? Having the right mindset, the crisis mindset is what I call it. when you go to work, before you start work, when you're going on your way to work, driving or walking from your bedroom to your office, whatever it is in this world right now, it's really, really important that you get your mind right, because we're human and we're going through a lot. We're also dealing with a pandemic. Yes, of course, our clients are, but we are too. And things might not be going great in our life right now. We might be struggling with mental health and wellness concerns of our own or our families. So being able to have a good routine, being able to take care of yourself, talk about things with peers or a supervisor or a therapist of your own, doing things like yoga, mindfulness, journaling, finding something that feels good and safe for you, so that when all this is coming to you, you can really be in the moment with the person, be grounded, and be ready to go. Before I start work, there's a lot of things I do. I read some prayers, I journal, I do a little meditation, I do some affirmations. I want to be able to be in the right mindset so that I can help as many people as I can, so I can be there in the moment with them and help them get through whatever they're getting through. The last thing I'll leave you with is sometimes we get put in a scenario where we have multiple clients in a day, a lot of people we got to talk to on the phone, a lot of people we got to talk to face to face. The ER is full of 10, clients that need mental health assessments. We get busy. But being there, taking your time, and giving that person your 100%. When I'm with someone, I'm all in with them. It doesn't mean my emotions are getting connected to them and all that, but I'm giving them that space and that time to hear what they have to say. I'm building that rapport and trust with them, and I'm keeping a space for them. And that is totally okay. That's being an ethical clinician in the field. So if you're in the field, you're a student, whatever it is, take time to think about a good routine. Rewind this video, look at the 6 steps to crisis negotiation, kind of get those pillars. Try to add some of them into your life. Build that good routine. Remember, it's not your emergency. And please, please, please remember, let's take the stigma out of our jobs. We don't need to ever say, oh, they're just a raging borderline, they're fine, they're just here for attention, get them out the door, they're just homeless, they want a nice warm place to sleep for the night and some food, get them out. Every person we meet, we need to treat with respect, humor, compassion, and truly treat them how they deserve to be treated, not how you think you'd want to be treated. That's great, but treating a person with dignity. Walking into that room or picking up that phone and saying, hey, I'm so glad you're here today. One of the first things I say, because I work on the phones right now, is I pick up the phone and I say, I'm so glad you called us today. My name's Tim. What's going on? How can I help? You'd be really surprised how far that goes. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it's a little bit longer, but we went over stigma, 6 steps to crisis negotiation, how to ask safety questions when someone is suicidal, and the importance of taking care of yourself. As we go, we're going to build on these principles. We're going to talk more. We're going to try to understand the mind, how the mind and body communicate, the chemicals in the body, the different areas of the brain, as it relates to crisis and conflict. So if you enjoyed this video, please hit that subscribe button, and the bell notification is there so you can get emailed when there's new videos. We're going to try to post videos every week, and in the comments, please leave your thoughts. If you have ideas for future videos, put them in there, and just your thoughts on the topic today. Thank you so much. Take care.